For the record, Joe Minicozzi, President, Coalition of Asheville Neighborhoods. We've been before you a number of times, and this is, it's great to see drawings and everything. But at the end of the day, there are plans that are required to be submitted. At the end of the day, our planning director is supposed to submit a notice of violation to the applicant to require them to move through and initiate these steps. On August 22nd, 2006, you accepted the Owens report, and in the Owens report, he concluded that this site did not meet and wasn't compliant. I'll go on to add the Staples as well. And in both cases, the person who's in charge of administrating the code, the planning director, or the interim planning director, is supposed to send out a notice of violation to the applicants. To our knowledge, these notices haven't been set. You've asked for Green Life. You've given them 30-day notice on January 16th, 2007 to submit plans. You gave them a 45-day notice on August 28th of this year. That 45 days have passed on October 12th. We're still waiting for those plans to be submitted. It's good to have meetings, and that's great. They're ultimately going to end up before you in a quasi-judicial hearing as a conditional zoning appeal. And you're pre-hearing development plans that you're going to hear when the finding of fact comes in the case. And we just want the plans submitted, bring them forward, go through the process like everybody else is required, and let's have it. Let's have the hearing with the finding of fact on this and how it meets conditional zoning. We've already gone on record as Coalition of Asheville Neighborhoods asking for you to repeal the conditional zoning requirements or our process and put it in a moratorium until we have it so it's not spot zoning. And then this is a similar situation. Yeah, some of the trucks are off Maxwell Street, but the law says no trucks on Maxwell Street, no trucks on a residential street. And how that meets the conditions of your findings in the conditional zoning, we'll have that when it goes forward, and we're waiting for that to happen. And I'll resubmit the letter that we gave you, Mayor, on August 14th, 2007, asking for a response to all of this in writing and a timeline for this to happen. And we're still waiting for the response to this letter, and I'll submit it again to the clerk. Thank you.
Shannon, I have a question. We've heard this issue a lot. And I just want to be clear, Staples and Green Life both have valid permits to operate?
Yes.
Issued by staff?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments on this issue? Council?
From a process standpoint, is they pursue plans, they follow through on the kinds of concepts you've described tonight, will that be a process that requires that will ultimately require a city council vote for rezoning and approval of the plans?
That's correct. Conditional zoning goes through sort of that whole gamut of public hearing process, beginning with TRC, planning, zoning, city council, back to TRC.
But this is a process that it is okay for city council to...
It's not quasi-judicial. That's correct.
Okay. I would just say, it's late. My brain's not working well enough to really kind of give, much meaningful feedback to the plans that were submitted tonight. But I would just encourage Green Life to thank you for presenting these plans. I think we all just hope that we'll continue to see forward motion on this and progress in terms of the plans going forward, and the property owners who hold title to the property that you need to make these plans happen. Hopefully, they will cooperate. I just think we're all hoping to see continued forward progress on this. So, and I would just ask if the plans are not submitted, at some point in the near future, I think council is just going to have to continue watching this. So if we haven't seen the plan submitted within 45 days, I'd ask that we just keep talking about it to make sure we are seeing progress on it.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Monpower.
This is the best effort we've had yet to fix the problem. It involves a lot of dollars under some risk and under the threat of litigation. That's no small step for Green Life to take. I'd like to thank you, and I'm sure there are others on the council too, for stepping forward and trying to come up with a meaningful solution to the problem. And think you hear us that there's some urgency around this. If you can bring it, the sooner you can bring it to life, the better. But thank you, because I think you've, I bet we don't know how much is involved in trying to create what you're trying to do there, and appreciate you doing it. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions or comments?
Could I ask Mr. Swan a question?
And Mr. Swan, for the record, if you could state your name.
Name is John Swan. I'm one of the owners of Green Life.
Thank you. I just know that I happen to shop at your store, and so I run into you periodically. And I asked you a question one day, like, why is it taking so long? Do you feel, and I know you have partners in other places who aren't as committed to our community as you are, and that has been part of the issue for you. Do you feel like you have their support to move this forward?
Yeah, absolutely.
now?
We wouldn't have these prints on the
Okay.
on the table if we didn't have full support of management and
Okay.
ownership of the company.
It's just a question. I mean, I don't want to run into you in 3 weeks and say, I just wanted, and I also wanted to say I know that you've been frustrated, and just that you're working with us and you're the face of Green Life for us. And I know it's difficult sometimes when your other partners don't have to look us in the eye and stand up here with us. So I appreciate that. Just want to know that you've got their support now, and we're moving forward, and this thing is going to move.
Yes, it is.
Thank
Mhm. Any other questions?
Thank you. Any other individuals wishing to address council tonight? Any other comments from council? Meeting adjourned.
See you later.
Have a good evening.
You too.